It's a beautiful start to the day, and we just left the dock at Curacao Marine and heading for the inner harbor at Willemstad.
Not yet.
Today is the day that Curacao government has closed off the harbor and invited the rally boats to come down and do a parade of flags. So we are just on our way out to the harbor to meet the other boats as they come through the Queen Emma Bridge and join in the festivity. anybody tell you can't park here?
Yeah. We thought we'd get as close as we could to the stage. It's karaoke night and I'm on first.
Oh,
no.
Karaoke? Oh my God,
no, it's not.
Thanks for the warning, we're out of here.
The guys have just come out from the TV station. So
This boat is actually Susie too. It's a beautiful FAR 57 owned by David and Suzanne, who are actually the founders and organizers of the Susie 2 Rally with the Ocean Cruising Club. And this year the rally is host to over 70 boats for a 6-month tour of the Western Caribbean. Can you say organizational nightmare? Okay, no, I got some great pictures, like video today,
well done,
with the drone and everything. So
we all managed to get around the harbour, didn't we? We all managed to turn port or starboard or,
if we continue like this, I don't think we can walk from there to the boat lady.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. They said the only thing bigger than this is their carnival. So, you know.
So we special.
Before. Yeah, so you've hit the town on a good day. Good
there
time.
you go.
Yeah.
Susie, how are you?
How you doing, love?
Over there.
Hello, love.
Hello.
So that was a fun cruise.
It was excellent, and everybody did the right thing, going around the harbour.
Yeah, I think we're all still going, what are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to be?
I said, hey, you know what? We're gonna go
How
that
many
last.
times?
At least we're not gonna mess anything up.
I left it in charge about Sam. I said, okay, you're on the helm, I'm running the drone. I don't want the stress of starboard, sophisticated lady, starboard, move.
It was when everybody was going down the middle, it was like, you know, yes.
Yeah, it was quite exciting.
There
There
was
was
quite
one
a
boat
good
in
time.
front of us that was going really slow, like 10 boat lengths. I said, what the hell are you doing? Go faster.
Yeah.
No,
But it was cool.
But it was nice.
it was when the ferry had to come in between us.
Well, I knew
and
that
then the
was
ferry
gonna happen.
stopped us all.
And they just keep
Yeah,
on
and they
going.
just kept on going.
So next time the Admiral wants us to do a parade of sail, we know which way to go around now.
Yeah.
We've done it.
So that was pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it even a little bit. I know it's not as much fun watching it from the other side of the screen, but hey, for us that was that was a lot of fun. I mean, kudos to the Curacao government. Thanks for opening up the harbor to us and letting us just do our random circles and things and have some fun. And yeah, that's not something we get to do every day, so very cool. Thank you, Curacao. So anyway, still got lots of stuff to do today. We only got 2 more days before rally departure, and I've got a dinner party scheduled on board Sophisticated Lady tonight. So we're going to be heading back to Spanish Waters soon. Sorry, Tiki, you want some granola? There you go, good girl. So I got a dinner party scheduled over in Spanish Water. Got to head back for and get ready. Before then, I thought, does that mean no? Picky parrot. But before then, I thought maybe we'd do a little question and answer. Haven't done that with you guys in a little while, so I've been going through some of your comments, and I wish I had time to respond to all the comments. You guys leave some great comments in the videos, but I thought maybe it'd be fun to pick out a few and just go through them here with you guys now. So let's see, I've got Tom Williams. Tom says, drone footage was awesome as usual. Thanks, Tom. Now that's an anchor. Yes, it is. Did I miss it, or did you change your batteries over to lithium? Isn't lithium what Delos put in? How many watts of solar are you going for? Well, yes, actually, I have not changed to lithium yet, and Delos did change to lithium. I've talked to Brian a couple times about it, and so far he seems very happy with his upgrade. So I'm still considering it, but it's not at the top of my list yet. I've still got a few other things I need to work on. Number one, of course, being a water maker. That's going to be next on the list. So to answer your question, right now I've got 1.5 kilowatts available, and I do see myself in the future probably putting another 500 watts because I have some space available still on top of the Dodger that'll perfectly fit 2 times 250 watt panels. And that'll give me lots of expansion for the future for different things that I'm thinking about putting on. Next question. Ascot asking in SSL 334, bigger is always better. Might be a dumb question, but are anchor winches rated for certain pounds? Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a dumb question. But as far as the anchor winches go, the one on my boat is rated, and they're rated by power, more or less. So mine is a Lowrance 1500 watt windlass, which is based on the size of the motor. And the motor is basically geared to the size of the boat, just like an anchor is. You go to a company looking for a windlass, and they're not going to ask you how much power you're trying, or how much weight you're trying to pull up or anything. They're going to ask how big the boat is, because by that they're going to gauge how much windage, how much drag from current, things like that, that the forces of the boat, what the windlass is going to have to compensate for in certain situations. And you always want to overestimate, just like we did with the anchor. Now, this windlass that we have at 1500 watts is more than capable of handling quite a bit more weight even than we've put on it. I mean, I've got 200 feet of chain that, it's about 3 to 4 pounds per foot maybe. So let's say even 600 pounds. So you add another 100 pounds for the anchor, and the windlass is designed to pull that all up as dead weight, even if you're in, if you've got 200 feet out and 200 feet of water. Windlass has to be able to get that back on board, otherwise it's undersized. So next question. What do you think about your new Highfield rib? I'm looking at the 310 CL. Honestly, we've had it 3 or 4 months now, and I am loving it so far. I mean, of course, I really enjoyed having the big yacht tender that we had before, but it was completely impractical for our type of traveling now, whereas the Highfield is strong, durable, lightweight, easy to hoist up on the back, as you have seen, still has tons of power. I mean, I've got the Yamaha 25 horsepower 4-stroke on it, and I can get 4 to 5 people up on plane, no problem at all, even with gear. So great dinghy, and very happy with the decision. So next question, Bill Law Marshall. How much did that new anchor cost, and is the anchor you just bought one of the best types of anchors out there? First question, the Mantis 105 I believe is just over $1,000. I say that because we got a bunch of stuff all at the same time, but the anchor itself is just over $1,000 plus the swivel and plus shipping. Is it one of the best types of anchors out there? Well, I'd have to say yes, or I wouldn't have chosen it. I just wanted to get something a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier than what we had before, because I just want that extra holding power and fast setting capacity. That is the main thing. I want to know that if the wind reverses on us in the middle of the night, this thing is going to roll over and the tip is going to dig in fast, and that's what the Mantis offers. That's what all my research has shown so far. So now it's up to me to test it on my own accord and see if I find the same results. So I'm sure we're going to hear more about that. Now, next question, Hugh Provis. You don't use prop speed or anything like that to defer growth on your propeller. I looked into this, and honestly I thought about it, and I asked other people that have used it, other people that haven't. Now, prop speed is like putting a very smooth coat of epoxy almost on your prop. It's very durable, very smooth. It is not going to stop growth from growing on the prop. It is basically just there to make it easier to remove. And everybody I've talked to that used it, well, first of all, it's a very expensive option, so I just decided not to use it because I knew we had a brand new prop anyway, and it's got a very highly polished surface, so I know it's going to take a long time before anything really starts to stick to it. And we typically go down and have a look at the bottom once a month whenever we're in clear water and just give it a wipe. So if you stay ahead of your maintenance, it's not really a big deal. If you're just going to leave your boat sitting for months and months and months, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to put something like prop speed on it, so at least when you do get a major accumulation, it's easy to remove. Next question, John Paul. Hey Rick, love your videos. Where are the girls? You always had girls. What happened? You're cruising solo, no first mates? Well, this is a tough one, and I know you guys all want to see another first mate on the boat. I would eventually like to see another first mate on the boat, but not right now. Taking some downtime, I got my focus on other things, and I need to stay focused on what I'm doing. And right now that is essentially looking after the boat, getting good crew on board that can help out with what we want to do, because I've got some good travels in mind, and my focus right now is on Colombia. So I don't want to distract myself with too much other than that right now. And honestly, I just haven't found what I'm looking for. And I know you'd say, well, Rick, you should lower your standards, just get somebody on the boat. But no, I'm kind of the opposite, actually. I mean, after my last experiences, I kind of raised my standards up to a point now where I've raised the bar. It's probably I'm going to be alone for a while now while I just stay busy doing other things. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know you guys, if I let you vote who's going to be the next sophisticated lady, I'd probably have a lot of fun for about a week. And then reality would set in. So I'm just not too worried about it right now. Appreciate your concern, but not to worry. Captain Rick's doing just fine, and we'll find somebody out there. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be in the South Pacific, French Polynesia, something like that. There's lots of nice women around the world, and I'm sure some of them would like to go sailing. So Only time will tell. Next question. Jersey Jeff, when you do your time lapses, such as the boat work or the party, what is your record FPS, frames per second, and what is your playback frames per second? Well, it's never exactly the same. It depends on what I'm recording, for how long I'm going to record. If I'm filming something that I want to have a lot of detail in the background, where there's a lot of high contrast or building structures or anything like that, I'll record at 4K and still probably leave it at 24 to 30 frames per second. Now, why I do that is because sometimes I want to use the footage in real speed. But if I record it as an actual time lapse, which is what we've been doing lately, because some of the cameras now have a time lapse feature that allow you to record at 5 or 6 times the normal speed, and it's just already there, and when you record it, it's dedicated as a time lapse. And the cameras will do that, recording about 4 to 5 frames per second, and then of course you play it back at 30 frames a second, and it's fast motion because it's playing back 5 times faster than what you recorded it. The other side of that is if I'm going to do slow motion, I'll record in typically about at least 60 frames a second, but usually 120 frames a second. If I want to do something really slow, like, you know, water motion or anything like that, I'll slow it down to 240 frames a second. And then when you stretch that out to, say, 1/4 or 1/8 of its recorded speed, you're playing it back at about 12.5% of what it was recorded at, and it's perfectly clear. It's really slow motion. The animation is beautiful. Just like those water droplets I put in the last video that you saw. Those water droplets I filmed at 240 frames a second, just holding the camera freehand, but it turned out great. It was just a nice little touch and I really liked it, so I put it in the video. Jeff, hope that answers your question. Next question. Celestial Sky 1. Now, I believe this is Catherine, if I'm not mistaken, and Catherine, if this is you, yeah, you've been posting on the channel for a while now, and thank you very much, appreciate that. She says, this was a really nice video. Thank you. The new plaque is wonderful. Great job to the fellow. And yes, Kuko did a great job with that, and I can't thank him enough for making that plaque for us. It's going to be great when we get it installed here. I know you've been real busy with everything and getting ready to move on, but boy, I sure do miss Tiki. It seems like you don't interact with her anymore. Don't interact with her. Well, I guess it might seem like that sometimes, but she's always right here. I got her. Woohoo! See, she's here. She's still my little buddy. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Hey, Tiki. She likes having fun. She always hangs out with me when I'm working here, but of course I'm not always recording or anything, so she's kind of in the background. What you guys want to see, of course, is when we're doing projects, working on the boat and driving the boat, traveling, anything like that. And of course that means that Tiki is living in her house in the cockpit. So she stays up there whenever we're busy, and most of the time though she's out and just roaming around. She flies around down here in the salon wherever she wants all the time. As you can see, she likes just hanging out with me, watching me, listening to me, doing my work, whatever I'm doing. But she's still my little buddy. Speaking of which, she probably would like a little sip of water. Tiki gets thirsty too, so there you go. You gonna take it? Here you go. Good girl. She's got her own routine down for drinking water. She likes to have a little cap full once in a while. But yeah, Catherine, I hope that answers your question. And yes, you will see Tiki more again, especially once we start getting into new areas. I'll start bringing her out more and having more fun with her on camera. Next question. Law Dog 1942. And this was in SSL 333. I thought I noticed a folding prop in the last video with the little underwater ROV. Yes. And congratulations, because you are the first person that noticed and actually mentioned that, and that was kind of a little clue that I put in that video. And I'm going to tell you guys, I do this sometimes for no other reason, just to see who notices my little indiscrepancies through the videos. Sometimes I put things in just on purpose to see who's going to notice it first. So as a congratulations for being the first to find and mention one of my little indiscrepancies, I'm going to take your name and put it in our bucket for the next draw for who comes aboard. So congrats on that. Next question from Jerry B on SSL 328. Wow, Rick, I still can't believe you haven't bought a water maker. Yes, I know. I get this a lot. A lot of you guys want to see us put a water maker in, but nobody more than me, trust me. But you got to understand, I'm not looking for just any water maker. I've got a specific one in purpose in mind, and I want one that is going to run off solar power and still be able to produce about 30 gallons in maybe not more than 2 hours of usage through the course of a day. Now that limits my choices, and of course they're very expensive. The one I have in mind is made by Spectra, and I'm really hoping to work something out to get one of those on board, because they do have the most efficient water maker that I could possibly consider to have on board. And I've known the company, I mean, I've known of Spectra for well over 20 years. But of course the system we're looking at is in the neighborhood of over $8,000 US. Now that's a major purchase, because anything I do, I have to do it in cash. I'm not using credit cards to buy things. If I don't have the money for it, it doesn't happen. I'm working on it. It is next project. It's the next thing I do want to have on board for sure before we go to Pacific. So you're going to see hopefully some results on that in the next 2-3 months. Having said that, I mean, I am going to start a little water maker fund, we'll call it, and I have opened up a cabin in the boat that you're going to hear more about in the near future as well, because we're going to start doing some charters with you guys that will let you come on board and be part of the crew and travel with us as we're in the rally. So if that's something of interest for you, you can feel free to send me an email with an inquiry and I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but otherwise there will be a video coming up on that in the near future also. Okay, that's it for the question and answer this time. I've got to get going because we got to get the boat back to Spanish water and get ready for my guests. So be sure and stick around and join us for dinner, and I will see you when we get there. I've got some special guests coming over. You might remember my friends Steve and Denise. They're coming over from the yacht club right over there, and Alcino's just gone over to pick them up in the dinghy, so he'll be back shortly with them. And we're gonna do a little cooking party. So we're gonna record some of it so you guys can share in the recipe with us and see one of my favorite Captain Rick recipes. It's an Oriental stir-fry chicken and rice. And then we'll sit down and have a nice dinner outside in the cockpit. And here they come now. Greetings.
What's up, Rick?
Welcome aboard. Oh! Close one.
You got that on camera, Rick.
Close one. Just about turned into a different kind of night.
No problem. Yes, okay.
Welcome aboard, Denise. Oh, nice. What do we got? Oh, I love chili in mine.
Yes.
2016 Santorita. Nice, thank you.
Señorita?
Santorita.
Ah, Santorita.
Okay.
Rick, this.
Señorita. Yeah, bring it downstairs. We'll put it in the freezer right away. Okay. That means we need to make room in the freezer. Oh, that's going to be a problem. I hear someone else arriving. Sounds like we got more guests coming. Let's see who's here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Greetings, Georgette.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Alright, so for our first episode of Cooking with Captain Rick, I'm going to share one of my all-time favorite recipes with you guys. This is something I used to make for some of my charter guests back years ago in the BVIs when I was doing charters almost every week, which, don't ask me to do that again, I'm not doing it. So to start, we've got all our normal veggies we're going to have in the stir fry. I've got some celery here we're going to cut up. We're going to do it, shit, I lost the word. This happens, don't worry.
Cut.
Cut.
Continue.
Cut.
put some makeup on?
Dry the forehead.
Hey, there's a dress. Let me fix the dress. Makeup, it's okay? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But we got our usual assortment of vegetables. We're gonna start with some celery. We've got some courgette. Yeah, and that's for you. I know you taught me that word, courgette. I call it zucchini. Yan calls it courgette. We got some courgette. We got our carrots, green pepper, broccoli. Now broccoli we're gonna do separate. It's gonna be done with some sesame seeds cooked in sesame oil. So we do these separate on their own. We've got some mushrooms. They are again done on their own. So the mushrooms are going to be done in a rum butter sauce. So that's what we're gonna make those in. So we have to saute these in some, or marinate these in some rum to start, and then we're gonna cook them in butter on the stove. We've got, of course, ginger. Everybody loves ginger. I preferred Marianne, but I like ginger. So I think what we're gonna do is start the rice, because it's gonna take the longest. I'm gonna get my assistant, the lovely Denise.
Hello.
Who's going to help with chopping some of the vegetables, as is Georgette. And Millie is gonna sit there and look cute and wait to eat the vegetables. Yes, here we go.
Captain needs some wine, otherwise Captain cannot.
Oh,
He's
thank you.
Captain. Yes.
I have the best crew on board.
Wow.
Look at this.
So in this video you will say some things and then this happens.
Yeah, and then this happened.
And then this happened.
But what happened?
We run out of propane. I knew we'd either run out of propane or water. Something had to happen. I can't see anything. Welcome to life on boats.
No.
You think you're done work for the day? Never put your tools away. That's all I can tell you. Alright guys, well thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good evening too. Cheers to you. Have a good night.
Su drone, vea pasar essa bola de céu.
Ah, ok.
Foi vida normal ali.
Okay, guys, I hope you don't hate me too much tomorrow.
We'll think about you.
I'm gonna send you a video.
Don't forget to take your cameras to the washroom.
Okay.
Ay.
When I'm on the John, I'm gonna send you a video. God damn. Look at this.
Ooh, ring of fire.
Ring of fire, burning ring of fire.
Oh? Yeah, okay.
O Beara nós atrás.
Yeah, so. Cuando me amo, cuando me amo.
Meme.
Night, guys.
Okay.
Bye. Ayo.
Hello.
Thank you for the food, sir.
I see you when I see you again.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.